Yeah, welcome to this video, and in this class we are going to consider how to represent complex numbers. Now, it is very important for us to note that a complex number is a mixture of a real number and an imaginary number. A real number and an imaginary number. The, the symbol Z is used to denote a complex number. The symbol Z is used to denote a complex number. Now, let me represent it. Z is equals 3 plus I 5. Now, a complex number is usually represented with the symbol Z. Z. Now, if we have this Z here, and we have the real, as I said earlier in the introduction, that a complex number is usually represented with a real number part and an imaginary number part. The real number part is this real number. Real number. While this is the imaginary number part. Very important. Now, if you look at the imaginary number part, you discover that there is an I there. The I there simply indicates that that's not the number with it is the imaginary number. Just to show you that that part is the imaginary part. While this one without an I tells you that that part is the real number part. So the real, so if this is a real number, that means the real number part can be the real number part of the complex number. So it can be represented like this, while the imaginary number part can be represented like this of that particular complex number. So this is the real number part of this complex number, Z, and this is the imaginary part of the complex number, Z. It is very important that we know how to represent complex numbers. Now, it is very clear that a complex number is represented in terms of the real number part and the imaginary number part. Therefore, if we are to represent this whole thing, if you are, the, if you are asked what is the real number, represent this real number part, you can say the real number part of the complex number, which is represented as this, is equals 3. This is the real number part. While the imaginary part of the complex number, which is represented by 3 plus I5, is equals uh, 5. 5 is equals 5. And not I5. Please, it's very important. The idea simply tells you that that component, that part, is the imaginary number part. So it is not it's not the imaginary number itself in itself. It is just telling you that that part is the imaginary number part. Meanwhile, the imaginary number there is 5. I believe it's very clear now. So that is how to represent complex number in terms of real number and the imaginary number part. I believe there is no ambiguity with that. If there is no ambiguity with that, we can also write something like this. What if we have a problem like this? Here, the real number, which is represented like this, of this complex number, you can also represent it like this. The real number part is 4. Why the imaginary number, which can be represented like this. which also means this is minus 7. Minus 7. Because you have to include the sign. The sign is very important. Don't neglect this negative sign here. Minus 7 and not ordinary 7. So with this, I believe we have learned how to represent a complex number in terms of the real part that forms a complex number and the imaginary part that also forms a complex number. Please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you.